Yes, lovely.
Time has come to add player movement to the characters of our Armory3D Bullet Hell indie game, and if you stick to the end of this video, I am going to show you how I handle my multiplayer controller selection by giving them all and subtracting one. So make sure you stick around. Welcome to the Please Try This channel. I'm Pindeni, and we are continuing developing our Armory3D Bullet Hell indie game project, and today we are adding player movement controller. So let's go ahead and do this. If you are new, these are the characters of our Armory3D Bullet Hell game. This is the final boss, the sea monster, Hulabab, and these are the 4 heroes and the virus. So we are going to add player movement to our heroes. So I'm going to select Mark. Blue is Mark, green is Pin, red is Eliza, and finally Becky. So I'm going to select Mark, and I'm going to go on Object, and then I'm going to press this plus sign to add a new trait, and it's a hex trait. Then I'm going to go on New Script and give it a name. So this is A0, and why is it A0? Remember, we are on the 0 game asset scene. I just do this so that I make my work easier. I want to know where the script will be originating from. So A0 means it's the 0 scene. That's why I named it that way. So A0, player 1 controller, like so. And then I'm going to press OK. And then I'm going to edit this script so that I launch my Code Studio. And Code Studio is here, and we have a simple hex script here, which we are going to use to add our controller. So I'm going to uncomment here by pressing Control and the backslash here, so that I uncomment here. And we need to import another library here, the Armory internal library, which is ion.system.input. This is the one that contains the keyboard controllers, the gamepad controllers, so we need it. And then I'm going to go on the notify on update method here, which I uncommented. And then I'm going to add if. Now we are using that input file which we imported. If input dot get keyboard bracket, because it's a method, dot down, like pressing down, and which key, we are going to add the right key, and then I'm going to add the brackets. So we now need a little comment which will help us identify what this code does. So we are moving right and left, like so. So what are we going to do? Object dot transform dot translate. We are translating the object, and we now need to add our x, y, and z values. So allow me to just go and check the axis. By the way, I added a new scene called the 9 game mechanics scene. What I just want to do is to stuff up my mechanics in this scene, and then when we are now developing the levels, I just copy it from this scene. So I just want to check the camera view which the player will use so that I know which axis to move on. Alright, so it's the Y going there, and then the negative Y is going forward. Okay, fine. So I'm going to add 0 for the X, and we are going to go -5 times time dot delta, comma, and for the Z 0, like so. So we're going negative the right side. And since we use the time dot delta here, which is very important when we are rendering our frames, we need to import it. So I'm going to import ion.system.time, like the file that contains this time.delta. So we are importing it here. Now we need to move left, so I'm just going to go else if bracket Mr. Lazy Programmer here, so I'm going to copy and just change a few parameters. So copy code and paste. I just don't want to type it again. So this time we are moving left, and then I'm going to do this. Copy again. And paste. So this time we are moving the positive side. So we are going the other side there, according to the alignment in that scene. Now we are moving up and down. So I'm just going to copy the whole code, lazy programming, and paste and just edit this comment. We are moving up and down. So for up here, if we press down the up key, we are going to go, allow me to check my axis again. According to the player's view, we are going Z positive. So we are affecting the Z axis this time. Gone are the days of affecting the Y. So 0x, 0y, comma, and then we are now going to add 5 times time.delta, like so. And then copy lazy programmer and copy it here. So we are now going down, and this time I'm now going negative Z. So it's minus 5 times time.delta. So I'm sure this code is fine. If there are any errors, we will see as we go on. I'm going to save it so that we test our game. So I'm going to go on the launch intro, and then I'm going to clean everything so we start afresh and then press play. Right, so I'm going to skip this. I'm sure if you have been following my channel, you are quite familiar with all these stories. So I'm just going to press space to skip. And yes, it's asking me my profile name again because I cleaned everything. So I'm going to submit pinned any, and then I'm going to click play. Let's try 1, which is a single player. And I'm sure we attached that trait on Mac. So let me select Mac. It's going to load for a few minutes and the game mechanics will be loaded. Yay, well, lovely, there's Mac. And if I press the left key, yes, he's moving there. If I press the right key, lovely. If I press up, if I press down, oh, lovely. We have translated our object well. So we'll be shooting the viruses. And that's wonderful. What we're just going to do now is add the player 2 controller. So if you have stuck up to this point in this video, I'm going to show you how to handle multiplayer controllers. So how do we do this? We are going to go on the game asset scene, and then we want to add the player 2 controller. Remember, our game is multiplayer and the maximum number is 2. So I'm just going to go on Mac again, and then go on Object, Armory traits. I'm going to add a new trait. It's a hex, and then I'm going to add, it's a new one, and we are going to name it A0 again, player 2 controller, and then press OK. Now then I'm going to press edit. So now my work is easier because using the lazy programming, I'm just going to copy this notify on update onto the player 2. So I want comment here and just copy. What did we import? Okay, we just copy what we imported and paste like this. So it is very much illegal for the player 1 and player 2 to have the same keys. So we need to change here. We are going to use for the right D, and we are going to use for the left A, and for up we are going to use W, and for down we are going to use S. So WASD for the player 2 controller. So I'm going to save this. And the way to handle multiplayers now is we are going to give them all these traits. So I'm going to do the same for all, which is pin here. I'm going to give them all the traits. This time we are not creating a new, we are just adding. And then we add another one. Where is it? A2 player 2. Lovely. We do the same for Elisa. Like this, we give them all the traits. Because we don't know who has been selected. And then we will remove one trait each time the player has confirmed their selection. So how to do this? I'm going to go in the game mechanics scene here, which is the one responsible for spanning the selected character. And I'm going to look, okay, A9 span character. So let's look for this file. This is the reason why I use numbers to correspond my scene and my files, because you can see here A9, I just know this one is affecting scene number 9 also. So I'm going to open it, and this is the scene that is, this is the script that is responsible for spanning the selected character. What we just do is here we check our code. If player 2 is joined, P2 none, okay. If the player 1 selects pin, so if the player 1 selects pin, we remove the player 2 controller. So how do we do that? We are going to add this code pin dot get traits method, and which trait, okay, it's here the name, the A0 underscore player 2 controller, like so. And then we are going to add another dot and say remove that trait. So we are removing the player 2 controllers each time we have a multiplayer game. So what we're going to do is copy this code, lazy programming is here, and then edit for Elisa and just change the name, like so. And then we copy it for Mark. Each time player 1 selects Mark, like so. And then we do the same thing for Mrs. Becky, like so. Lovely. Now here what is happening, okay, span character 2. So this is now player 2 selecting their character. What I'm just going to do is copy here and change. So if player 2 selects, we are removing player 1 controller from the character. So I'm going to do this, and lazy programming begins. Copy. We do the same for Elisa. If player 2 selects Elisa, we do the same here for Mr. Buck. And this is who, Becky. Okay. So that the controllers don't confuse each other. That's why we are doing this. And we end player 2. This one is for solo, if it's just one player going into the game. So it's the same as when player 1 selects. So I'm just going to copy this code for player 1 selection, and then we do the same. Okay, player 2. Okay, here is player 1. If the player is solo and just wants to play the game alone. Now we are changing the name. So, okay, we are removing player 2. Okay, I made a mistake here. So we are now going Elisa. And then we copy again. This is Mark. We are removing player 2 traits. And this is Becky. Alright. So let's test the code and see if these controllers don't affect each other. I'm going to go on my launch intro scene, and then I'm going to seek the Armory player. I'm going to clean first everything so that we click play. So I'm going to press space to skip everything. Okay, my name, Bingeni, submit, play. So let's test for 2 characters. And I'm going to select Mark for player 1, and for player 2 I'm going to select pin, and then it's loading. Woo! There are our characters there. I'm sure I selected pin here. I think it's a little bug, but we'll check it out. Okay, for player 1, as you can see, it's moving, and this is Elisa. I'm sure she's not moving. Let me test. Oh, lovely. I'm now pressing A, D, S, W. So you can see now if there are 2 players using the same keyboard, they won't affect each other. I'm going to check and see what happened here. I think I selected pin. I don't know if I made a mistake, but it's a small issue. So that's how we handle multiplayer. We just give them all the traits and subtract 1, and it works. From here on, we are now going into shooting, pew 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 pew, so that they can now shoot the viruses. Thank you very much for watching this video. Please, if you are new, please, I need your subscription. Do consider subscribing to my channel, liking and sharing my videos. Thank you very much.